Yeah. But will there be prostitutes? I don't even put my shoes on. Ah, greetings, internet cretins. Evil here in the back, and I recently put it out on our Discord in our section titled Ask Us Anything.
Ask Evil anything.
I've done a litany, you could say, of I've got 5 questions about this film. I got 5 questions about that film. Bowflex. Bowflex, Bowflex, Bowflex. So I decided to flip the script and decided to throw it your guys' way. Anything you want to ask me. So
Ask Evil 5 questions.
first question that came through is, what are my top 5 horror, metal, hard rock movies?
That's a good question.
Well, where do you start? Well, let's go ahead and start in an obvious place. Let's start with one that's got it right in the title. Number 5, we'll say, starting off the list from the bottom to the top, Rock and Roll Nightmare. I don't know what I could possibly tell you about this movie other than you have to see it, and then I think once you do see it, good luck getting motivated to watch it again. It is a movie that is difficult to describe all that goes on in it. Horror and rock music are, hair metal rock music are married together quite well in this movie. Give it a watch one time, and then you will literally never probably be interested in watching it again, unless you have a group of people that are arguing over potential cheese in a movie, or if you really want to MST3K a flick, then you'll break out Rock and Roll Nightmare. Come in at number 4. It's almost right there in the title. It definitely sounds like it should have been a metal band by now, or Norwegian death metal probably, but Deathgasm. Deathgasm, you're following what I actually know a few people like this, kind of a nerdy, scrawny kid who just has a tendency to like death metal and is kind of picked on for it and pushed around, which I never ever really tied together. I always thought death metal, you had to have a leather jacket, tattoos, eyeliner, muscles. You kind of had to look like Danzig. In my mind's eye, that's what everyone looks like, is Danzig that is a death metal fan. So seeing these scrawny, pushed around, bullied kid was new to me. But this is about a group of kids that form a band. They're few and far between finding other metal fans, so these guys come together and end up, of course, finding some lyrics that summon hell, essentially, in their small town. And it is bloody, it is messy, it is a hell of a lot of fun. But definitely, as Raj and I would say, it's an after 8 p.m. movie. Most of these movies are going to be after 8 p.m. movies for violence, gore, nudity, penises all over the screen. This one's a lot of fun. Unlike Rock and Roll Nightmare, Deathgasm is a movie you will want to put on and watch every so often. It's a good one, as we'd say. It's a good one. Very popcorn as fuck movie. Numero 30 on that list. Right there in the middle. The middle child of the metal horror movies, Trick or Treat. I had seen this movie on the shelf to buy for a long time, knew nothing about it. The cover art is Ozzy Osbourne, looking Ozzy Osbourne-ish. It's a movie I never really decided to pull the trigger on. Roger is the entire driving force was behind me ever seeing this movie. Roger is the complete driving force to making me watch this flick. And when we got a chance to meet Mark Price, star of the movie, Ragman, very much along with Deathgasm, a dude that listens to this type of music, worships this type of music in a healthy way. It's in a healthy way. Think of like a metal rock horror movie version of Carrie. Think if Carrie had a lot of hairspray in and was, stand up and shout. That's the kind of movie this is. But this is 100% a Roger motivated movie. If I have to owe all of it to him, it's a good flick. It is just because of the cover art. I'm old school, and that way it's hard to get past the cover art to be like, all right, let's give it a shot. But if you get a chance, Trick or Treat, not to be confused with Trick or Treat, there's a one-letter difference. Very, very important. But Trick or Treat, it's a decent flick. Mark Price kills it and definitely portrays a victimized kid very well. That's just pushed around and bullied, and he only has this one thing that he kind of clings to that keeps him happy, grounded, and sane. Me, it was pro wrestling. This dude, coming in at my numero 2-0, very appropriate on this countdown is to do numero 2. You do it this way. You also can call it rockstar quotes when you're quoting something. But number 1 and number 2 were very hard to place first and second because they're about this much difference between the levels. But I had to say my number 2, and I'm sorry for one half of Atomic Cotton because it's going to hurt the soul a little bit to put it number 2 and not number 1, The Gate. Much like Deathgasm, how a band accidentally, with their lyrics, summon hell on their town. This is like the Rube Goldberg of accidentally summoning demons into your house. You have to have a hole in your backyard or on your land. Just so happens a tree gets taken down in a storm. Boom, you have a hole. You have to sacrifice, put a sacrificial, offering in there. Dumbass teenager buries a dead dog in there. Dead dog props. Deep cut for us. You have to sacrifice a little bit of blood in there. Oh man, I got this splinter with some of my blood in it. I'm gonna throw it in this hole when I was moving this fucking random door that came off my treehouse. And then you have to read these words that appear after they break open this geode rock with a hammer.
Boom, ba-doom, 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 ba-boom. Bam. Now you have demons in your house.
Essentially all caused by this metal band that, of course, died in a plane crash. How awesome is that to have a metal band that, of course, you play backwards and then you get incantations. I mean, like it's super hard that this movie got ousted by my number 1 pick. If you've not seen The Gate, it is probably the only movie on this list I would say that it's not an after 8 p.m. flick. This is one of those, as we call it, gateway. Ha. See what I did there? Roger always does that shit. It's lame. I do it. It's awesome. But my number 1 pick that had to oust The Gate to get to number 1, and it's solely because of the soundtrack. Maximum Overdrive. This has one of the raddest trailers you have ever seen. It's just Stephen King being as influenced or under the influence of various substances, let's say, telling you how something's got to be done right. You got to do it yourself. And I'm going to scare the hell out of you. And then you have literally heavy metal. It is big ass trucks, vending machines, blenders, remote control cars, all electronics, anything that has a power flow to it, whether by electricity, gas, or battery, suddenly becomes alive and starts attacking people for a day. And the entire soundtrack is covered by AC/DC. Fucking cars are alive. They're out to get you. Stephen King made it, and AC/DC did the entire soundtrack. I mean, what else you gotta say? A lot of horror movies, I think, would be really upped in their rad factor if a solo band covered the entire soundtrack for the movie. I mean, you kind of had that with Nightmare 3 with Dokken. Imagine that for other things. Imagine, Metallica covered Friday the 13th Part 7. Only on Metallica tracks for Friday the 13th Part 7. I don't know how many ways you could make New Blood more rad, but that may be one of the ways to do it. So that is my top 5 metal horror movies off the top of my head. You have any questions you want me to answer? 5 questions? Shoot that into our Discord, into the AMA section. And hashtag that beast, Ask Evil. And I will answer your questions. And if you just have a question, I'll wait till there's 5 of them suckers all together, and then I'll answer those 5. But if you gotta give me your top 5 of this, you got it. So, that's all for me today. That's more work than I fully intended on doing. Now, call Mikey back about that thing. See if he's changed his mind yet.